welcome to Tea Time with Fudge, who's not nervous at all.
I am extremely nervous. I don't know what's gonna happen. I heard that Vulcan's pants got pulled down last time. I don't know what that was about.
No,
I have no context on that, but that's what I heard. Anyway.
Neither do they now. It was a meme. Everything's fine. Anyway, Fudge, good game.
Well, yeah, it was a decent game. We were very stressed because we were getting really far behind on bot lane. And top lane could not do anything. We didn't have really any plays we could make across the map except fight Dragon, and then we lost one of the fights, I believe. And after that, we were very panicked.
Yeah, but you pulled it together.
Yeah, I don't know how we did it. It was very lucky, but
the
the enemy team was shit talking us.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't say that word. My bad.
Oh.
The enemy team was talking trash in all chat. I think Sion said our academy team is better after they killed us, and then at the end of the game, Sven said, "Go back to academy." So it was
that
fun.
why he didn't
I was
shake
having
his
a great
hand?
time. Oh, did they not?
No.
Oh, that's funny.
There's
I didn't see
real freaking hot sauce out there. Look at that.
Ooh, replay on that one.
Here he goes. No, thank you. Oh my gosh! Stop
Wow, I did not see that.
it.
That was good.
Sven is mad.
Whoa.
It's okay.
I did not see that.
Spicy. It's a spicy day. Well, let's have some tea.
Well, they're never playing bot lane together in their entire career.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
That's not happening. That's for sure. Oh, what type of tea is this?
It's matcha, I think.
Ooh.
We found it on the floor.
It's cold. I don't like cold tea.
It is cold.
It's so cold.
We don't have much of a budget over here at Cutie Tea Time, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
We're doing our best. I had a question for you. Why is no one banning Cassante?
Cassante got nerfed.
Yeah,
He got nerfed.
You still play him.
Yeah, but Sion Cassante, it's like a trade. And you're both just tanks. You go even, and the better team wins. And today, the better team won.
Spicy on C9.
The top lane actually did not matter this game. If I was in his position, I think we would have lost the game the same way if I was like on TL, you know?
I see.
So, It's kind of sad though. I was really sad when he picked Sion. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to play Cassante because my team wants me to play like a tank into Sion and then just like do nothing the entire game. And then I played lane and I just recalled in his face while we were in the middle of the wave because nothing matters like in top lane in this game.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was sad.
How do you stay so humble?
I'm not humble at all. that was, you're really trying to get me
I know.
I am extremely egotistical. But I'm not delusional to the point where I would say that top lane mattered this game.
Okay, that's fair. You know, something about Cutie Tea Time is I do my investigational research. And can we talk about this?
What? You can't see it under the lighting too well.
What is that? Well, in case
It's a snake bite.
you can't see it, there's a picture on Twitter where it's circled. There seems to be a spot on your neck. Can you tell me what that is?
It's a snake bite.
Really?
Have you fought a snake before? They usually go for the neck.
Really?
Yeah.
When did you happen to fight a snake on Valentine's Day?
I mean, that did happen to happen, but it was a coincidence.
Yeah, it's just like a Cupid snake. I
Yeah,
suppose.
and well, I don't know. Australians like fighting snakes on Valentine's Day, you know. So
yeah,
we fight snakes. It's pretty fun for us. And I lost 1v1 to Cassiopeia, but we.
Oh my. Okay, that's one way to put it.
Okay.
Well, I mean, speaking of you fighting snakes in a romantic way, what's going on between you and Tenacity on Twitter?
I mean, he's a hot man. What can I say? I mean, nothing. I have no ulterior motives. I'm just gonna say
the heartthrob of the LCS.
He's extremely attractive, so I can't handle it.
So if he wants to snake fight. Oh my god.
Hey, I mean, it's all fun.
All right,
it's all fun and games, you know.
Too much tea time. Too much tea time. Okay, you have to do these now.
Okay, I don't know what this is, but okay.
Take one out. It's gonna be great. It's a dare box. It's a dare box.
I don't use pens. I dropped out of high school. Just want to let you know.
You didn't. What? You didn't use pens?
Pins.
That's a paperclip.
My bad. Sorry, I'm delusional. Let other person
playing roulette with you. Tweet from your account. Give me your phone.
Oh, where the hell's my? Okay, so.
Okay.
Okay.
And just a casual.
By the way, check out twitter.com/fudgecakey.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wait, you have to go back.
Stop. Oh my gosh, you're just looking at pictures of yourself.
It's literally it's on my notifications. What can I do?
This guy, not egotistical.
What are you tweeting?
Don't worry about it.
What are you tweeting?
I actually think the Minions movie was the best ever. Tweet. There you go.
That movie's trash. Do you like that movie?
It's weird because you said otherwise on your Twitter, so just throwing that out there.
I will not say what I want to say.
All right, I have to do one.
Oh, you have to do one.
Yeah, people are mad I didn't do it last time.
I did not know this.
What is one thing you hate about me? You have to answer.
You stole Ludwig from me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. You know, you could have just called in Hotline League if you wanted to. You could have. You could have done it. All right. It's your turn.
We're still going? Oh my god.
We're
going. Oh my god.
This is tea time. We're hanging out.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Don't attitude me like that.
Sorry. I apologize.
Thank you.
If you had to kick someone off your team, who would it be?
Sven has a bit of an attitude. I'm just throwing it out there.
He does. He really
attitude.
does. I think.
You have to answer. It's the rules. So
I do have to answer.
It's part of the game.
No cop out.
I think I'm kicking Diplex. I'm sorry, Diplex. You know,
Diplex.
You're gonna have to go, buddy. You know, like.
Why?
Why? He's been on the team the least amount of time.
That's so mean.
I know, but I have to say it. It's the truth.
You could have said Sven. He was mean today.
Truth.
Oh god.
I'm being honest.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to be honest now?
I appreciate it. No, it's tea time.
That's what
It's tea time. Be honest. Okay,
Yeah.
don't freaking hold it like that. Relax.
I'm relaxed.
I'm fine. I can't open
I'm
it.
relaxed.
I never used pins. I didn't go to high school.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry for being dumb.
Which league champion would you date? Well, wouldn't the crowd like to know? I would love to date Twisted Fate, because he has a hat.
He has a nice voice.
He has a nice voice.
He has a nice voice.
And I imagine there's, I've never seen him with the shirt off, but I imagine, you know, it takes a lot of muscle to teleport and stuff. Anyway, that's all we've got here. CaptainFlowers and the newest member of our team. What is that? I read the teleprompter.
Thank you, Cutie Cinderella. Thank you, Fudge. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LCS. And please join me in giving a masterful LCS welcome to Mr. Matt Cubby Samuelson, taking the LCS stage here for the first time. He is a seasoned veteran of the NA Academy and amateur scenes, as well as doing guest spots in the LCK. And it's our pleasure to have him here on the desk today.
Dude, I cannot wait for this, man. It's gonna be a blast. Gonna have a good time.
Rock and roll.
Yeah, man. And we actually have an interesting match first off, as TSM 4-4, looking to finish the first round robin in the positive here, and coming off a big win yesterday against FlyQuest.
Right, you're talking about finishing in a positive. I don't care if they get blown out like 18-0 in this game. They're still the only squad that managed to put an L on FlyQuest here in the first round robin. These guys have honestly done some pretty surprising things here in these first few weeks.
Yeah, and I really like the style they're sticking with. I mean, Solo, we always know he's down to play weak side, down to play the tanks. Cho'Gath yesterday, I think, was a huge pick for them. When a champ's 0-5-0 and having the impact that Solo was able to have on Cho'Gath, that's when you know draft went pretty well for TSM, which Chime credited in the interview as well. So good to see and excited to see if they continue that today against Dignitas, who, of course, looking for their first win of the season so far.
Yeah, Dignitas have not been able to find a way to wipe that donut from the first part of their score thus far. They're hoping for an 11th hour superpower here at the very end of the first round robin, and they think that the way they're going to do it is by banning out the Sylas first. TSM are going to take away the Zeri, so we will not see that ever so popular marksman there in the bottom lane. Vi also banned out by Dig.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Dignitas, their early games haven't been the problem. It's been how they've been able to transition those leads, because the leads they take, they've not been able to turn into victories. So yeah, I want to see if TSM can kind of focus that. Bugi has been electric on the Elise, but I think that's also paying respect to Santorin, who already had a good Elise game this week, taking off the board, and maybe getting into that territory. We're going to be handshaking those junglers.
Well, there's a lot of handshaking going on in draft in this day and age in League of Legends. Season 13's it's a gentleman's game here in Pro League. But we do have the Caitlyn banned out along with that Vi, getting rid of both halves of the Arcane pair. And let's see what TSM wants to round out this first half of the draft with the ban on. Okay, the Ashe makes a lot of sense. Plenty of focus towards the bottom lane, plenty of focus towards the jungle. Maokai's up. I would never be surprised to see him first pick on blue side when that's the case.
No, I will say, though, a little bit of a change-up for Dignitas, at least. It's been mostly Sejuani Vi for them. This will be the first Maokai game for Santorin. I think Maokai excels more at the control in the later stages of the game. So TSM, of course, playing the tanks. Maybe they think that this game's gonna get drawn out a little bit and want the Maokai for favor. But of course, Lucian Nami as a response, TSM showing mid-game early.
And this goes with what TSM did in their very first step of the draft with that first ban. If you leave Maokai up and ban Zeri away, you're saying, all right, take it. We want the Lucian Nami. But the response, we're gonna get to see Aphelios for a second time today. He'll be the replacement for the Zeri next to Lulu.
And I gotta say, I know that Spawn struggled in this split of LCS.
Yeah.
But I covered him in Academy last year before he got promoted and actually took the spot of Neo on that Dignitas roster. Aphelios is one of his better champs from Academy, so really hoping that we can see Spawn maybe step up a little bit today. It's been a tough split for him, but interesting bot lane matchup, especially for Neo, who, of course, going up against the person that did take his spot on the Dignitas roster last year.
I always love a little bit of a grudge match. In either role, in any team, any situation, just makes things a bit more fun. When we're talking about fun, Sejuani usually gets left out of the conversation because she's just such an expectation these days. And I mean, hey, if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they're going to go ahead and lock that in for the side of TSM. Bugi, most likely to be piloting it. Of course, the champion does have some flex capabilities, but we always expect it in the jungle nowadays.
Yeah, and honestly, I want to see if Dignitas maybe takes away a Sion, because on the side of TSM, like what Dignitas have so far, Aphelios will have a little bit of trouble cutting through those big tanks. And of course, Solo has been so damn good on the tanks this split. Definitely something that you really have to look out for with TSM. Their gameplay, a little bit different from a lot of the teams that we're seeing in the LCS. I feel like Solo really defines that along with Maple in the mid game. They 4-1 transitioned their power really well. So I think champs that really help with that, things like the Sion and also the Taliyah that Maple was so big on in the last game. No, it's Sejuani, but still looking out for picks like that for the control.
What is this?
Oh my god.
The Dig fandom has found themselves in the deepest trenches and they are embracing the shadows around them. You know what? I can respect that. We got Kassadin, we got a Kali banned out, so no focus on the TSM top lane here from Dig in the second half of the draft, focusing on the mid lane instead. Meanwhile, the Gnar and Jax being banned away. Those are traditionally two champions who can do very well in a side lane, so I would not be surprised at all to see Solo back on a tank.
Yeah, also Dignitas, the Kassadin and Kali ban, that tells me they might want Azir here on the 4-5, so TSM have the option to deny it. Instead, they're going to take Taliyah. A lot of mid laners are very comfortable handshaking that, and again, Maple, his Taliyah has been fantastic. 2-0 with a 28 KDA in those two games.
Yeah, his Taliyah has been awesome to see. I wouldn't want to see him pick the Azir over it. We've been seeing a lot of lousy Azir games here over the past couple of days in the LCS. I think Taliyah has so much playmaking power. I'm happy to see her locked in. We got the Sion picked up for Armut here on the side of Dignitas, and now we need to see that mid laner. What rounds out this composition? I'm expecting some sort of an AP choice because right now it's just the Maokai and the Lulu.
And you know what, Flowers? I see Sion, I see Maokai, I don't see Cho'Gath on the ban list, I see Taliyah. I'm thinking that it might be another good game.
Gonna run it back?
It might be another good game for the solo Cho'Gath. It's the tank that counters tanks, right? And you can neutralize that laning phase for Sion, get pushed a little bit later. I think it'd be a pretty good pick here, but that also is very enticing.
Let's not get baited now. Let's not get baited. I have been doing this for enough years now that I know not to be pulled in by an exciting champion being hovered. It's not real till it's locked in. Oh, and this seems much more likely. There it is, K'Sante locked in for Solo, so that's gonna be the choice here up against the Sion. K'Sante obviously very tanky himself, but can become a very great threat given the opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, my eyes on the side of Dignitas. Spawn on a champion that he has found success with in his past. When you have Orianna, Lulu, I mean, this is like protect the double lifts except for Spawn. I know that Spawn's had a really tough split. He's gonna have to be the hero, though, in this game, given the pieces around him. I do like the Orianna. You can get through the lane phase against Taliyah, but also the zoning power you have later can be pretty good. So we'll see if TSM can play around that, use Taliyah to surf the map a little bit, and get ahead in that mid game where their comp really excels.
And mid-game, I think, is going to be such an important point for both the teams, TSM compositionally, as you pointed out, and for Dignitas, because of what you said at the very start of this match, my friend. It's not that they can't get ahead. We've seen this team with leads. We've seen this team with real big leads. And then every single time, they're just going back like they want to be a quarterback in the NFL, and they throw it all the way down. We need to see them be able to keep possession of these leads that they build, transfer those into bigger and badder leads, and seal the deal with the Nexus.
It is at least a different approach for Dig, though, because I think some of the early game leads have come from their focus on that in draft by taking early game champions like Jace, like Elise. This time, though, it is all scaling. So a very different approach for them is, again, they try and pick up that first win in the last game of this first round robin.
Let's do it. It's game number 4. Dignitas seeking their first win here in spring during the last game of the first round robin. TSM with a win here after their massive upset against FlyQuest yesterday could end with a positive record with a victory over Dig now. Dignitas grouping up as a 5-man death ball here in the bottom lane. Just gonna set up shop here in the brush, see if anybody's foolish enough to face check, but I don't think that'll be the case.
And I know, before the games today, I was talking with Chime, that big upset that FlyQuest, or over FlyQuest, I should say, from yesterday. I think the Chime, it's unique because TSM, of course, that staff's small, right? Chowie, posted the fun meme of, him just being all the roles.
Yeah.
But Chime said, this really has brought us together as a closer-knit team. We've somewhat embraced the underdog mentality. This is a team that the community, the analysts universally had ranked 9th or 10th coming into this split. And to be able to finish the first round robin 5-4, I think, is a pleasant surprise for TSM, who, of course, I think leaning into their own style, it's really benefited them.
And I love the fact that a team that's rated lower, that's not looked at as one of those top contenders in the league, can lean into their own style. I'd like to see so many more teams do this. Play the way that you know you can get some wins. Don't bother worrying about being strictly adhered to the meta. Don't worry about only picking based on tier lists. And Maple's Taliyah is one of those things that I just always want to see more of, because I think the man has the ability to warp the entire flow of the game around him.
I mean, that's always done in LCS so far in those 2 wins he's picked up earlier this split. Definitely have to keep our eyes on him in this one, but at the moment, going to be a slow game early with Sejuani and Maokai both starting on the top side and working their way towards bot. Again, pretty typical for the meta. Patch is starting to get us some changes in here, Flowers, but, team's not changing up too much strategy yet.
Change takes time. Change takes time, unfortunately. We are getting a couple of nice shakeups here with things switching over from 13.1 to 13.3. But the biggest change that Dignitas needs is they need to facilitate the success of Spawn here in this game. You already talked about it a little bit. Aphelios is the cannon. This is the guy who matters the most in this composition. And so Spawn, he can't be making these free mistakes that he's had so many of throughout their first 8 games thus far. And going back to what you mentioned in draft, I mean, Neo, this is the guy who replaced him, man. This is the guy that if you got something to prove it now.
And I know Chime was talking about how, losing the GG lit a fire under his ass because, going up again, he didn't want to drop a game to his former team. I'm sure Neo feels the same way. So Chime hopefully going to make sure that Neo gets that pleasure is, Santorin, he's caught.
Santorin, what are we doing, buddy? Flashing away, twisted advance back to the chickens to secure his escape. But popping Maokai's flash nice and early will do some great things to shut down some of the early games.
That's tough, though, because Santorin, he's forced on the other side of the map now, so Aphelios, Lulu, they're going to feel the consequences of that as well. This is a lane that you can win early against Lucian. Nami, not anymore. Now Bugi flashes.
Ooh, nicely done there. He'll trade flash for flash with the enemy mid laner, and considering he's got a Taliyah to set him up for a return trip, I like this trade for TSM.
And this is all that Bugi's been doing. I know that Sven talked about it, too, on the dive. I think the way that Sven put it was hey, Dignitas, I don't think they need a jungler like Santorin. They need one like Bugi who's going to go for crazy stuff early. Bugi already forcing Santorin out of that side of the jungle, opened up the play mid. That's an easy rinse and repeat gank mid, as you pointed out. We're going to have to keep our eyes on now if Bugi's able to return and cash in on that flash being down.
And he's not the kind of guy that's going to be cautious about doing that. He'll be happy to throw himself in there and try to make those plays. As Spawn and IgNar have to push in bottom lane right now, but Neo and Chime are doing a good job fighting back. Piercing Light will find Spawn, but the shield from IgNar keeps him at relative even trading here. Bugi's going to walk forward towards Santorin, who he finds in the river. There is no flash on that Maokai. Neo and Chime keeping the 2v2 here in the bottom side, but they're losing out. They have to fall back. They don't have enough HP to keep this going.
Really nice heal by IgNar to sidestep that bubble that might have gotten them out of maybe a death there. But again, even with the bot push like, being somewhat in favor of Dignitas, because Santorin's down flash, Bugi was able to force him out of that matchup, so able to actually take this crab, and Bugi, you know, being out on the map early on in this matchup on the Sejuani, he's still looking for plays. He's going to get behind the bot lane now. Both flashes are up for Dignitas, but you got to imagine they're going to be taken away here pretty soon.
There is a sapling inside the brush that'll see him. That is about the only thing.
Wait,
There it
no
goes.
way.
It kabooms. It's gone.
No way.
Dignitas is very far forward right now. TSM backing up all the way. Bugi's still just chilling here in the tri-brush. He'll walk around the shorter path through the river, but it does take him over a ward. Spawn and IgNar are aware, and Neo and Chime are so low on health, so low on mana, that TSM doesn't want to hard force something.
I do like the look in the attempt from Bugi. That was cute playing around the sapling there, but no fruit for him. Still, in this early game, again, TSM, we talked how they have to hit that mid-game spike. At least he's being proactive and setting up plays that maybe Bugi can find something if he is able to revisit.
And up top side, Solo's got total control over the lane right now. There's obviously plenty of minions for Armut to be able to farm up as the wave crashes into the turret. Solo, however, level 6, might just be able to make something happen here. He goes all out, tries to pull Armut away from the protection of the turret, but doesn't quite have enough damage. I mean, his inventory is still just D-shield and a potion. There's not really anything supplementing that. I respect the fact that he went in and tried to get something going on. He gets the flash out of Armut at least, so maybe something can happen up there now. But because of the amount of attention paid bottom by the junglers, it meant that Solo was allowed to do as he pleased up here in the top lane with Dustin.
Yeah, that flash, I don't think they're going to pay attention to the Sion, but who knows, maybe at Rift Herald fight they are able to punish.
Yeah.
Because again, Rift, I think that's something that TSM is really looking at here. You have Taliyah, Sejuani, that's really good setup. I do want to see TSM try their best to play for that first Rift Herald again. They need to get things moving, because the scaling of Orianna, Aphelios, Lulu, I mean, you have a massive front line too behind this. This is the spawn comp, and I'm very curious to see Dignitas go for this. A lot of their comps have been around Armut, getting him ahead with the Elise Jace picks for Dignitas, but them putting all their chips in a member that's really been struggling here for Dignitas. It's quite the different attempt. I wasn't expecting this coming on stage today, but who knows, maybe that's what they need.
Feels like a Hail Mary, but maybe that's the only play left in the playbook when you're in the sort of situation the Dig is in right now. Bugi waiting in the brush. Solo goes in, uses the Unstoppable through the Decimate of the Sion. However, as soon as Sion casts that ulti, it means you can't keep the chase going any further unless somebody's in front of him. So Armut's going to disengage, and it'll make Bugi walk away. But now Armut does not have a flash. He does not have an ultimate. He doesn't have a whole lot of tools here to work with. Bugi's going to find Santorin on the blue buff, but he doesn't have the confidence to move forward and do anything to it just because of the fact that the lanes aren't set up in a way to facilitate that. He'll fall back into the top side river, pick up the Scuttle Crab for himself. Still very, very close game in terms of gold. Nobody really with a meaningful lead as Neo and Chime versus Spawn just trading back and forth. Snap trades between them. Spawn, of course, has the crescendo, means he's very dangerous in those extended trades. Just want to get in, get out real fast. Nice feat from IgNar again, sidestepping the bubbles.
Again, good to see IgNar in this bot lane. I mean, Spawn's been averaging being down over 1,300 gold at 15. That is the worst stat in the league out of all players. So
it's rough.
Yeah, it has been rough. But again, the fact that Spawn on something I would definitely consider a comfort champ for him. This was his most played champ in Academy last year in the Aphelios. Seems to be a matchup that he's familiar with. Again, very common that they played this out last year. Aphelios been doing the Lucian Nami and paying some dividends here for Dignitas.
Spawn now with his level 6 online, but Bugi's the same. Goes in for the ulti onto Jensen. Seismic Shove's gonna throw him right back into the waiting arms of TSM, but Santorin's ready to strike back. Bugi's now only got about 250 HP left to work with. Santorin, he's got all 4 stacks from the Sejuani E on him, but Sejuani had to disengage before that could be procced, so no kills either way. Bottom lane, it's Spawn looking to keep the fight going. Neo has to dash out to avoid the power of that crescendo.
So Bugi goes low in that trade, but because health bars were traded down, he actually is sitting on the red buff and has lane priority from the Cassante and the Taliyah. So TSM going to try and start up the Herald here, and I think because they forced Santorin out, honestly, cute play coming out of Dignitas. Not a lot of fighting early, but they do get themselves that early objective. Very important for their team.
TSM making sure that they can get themselves leads even without securing the kills. There goes the Herald. There's the money in Bugi's pocket. Eyeball in inventory. Solo's even going to knock Armut back down into the river. Remember, there's no ulti. There's no flash. There's no way out. And it's first blood over to TSM.
And you know what? It took a couple visits, but Solo able to find the kill on Armut, but we have an answer on the bot side now.
They're going in for the dive. Santorin fires off the ulti here at the start. Spawn's ult follows up, but this is not release Aphelios. It's not an insta-kill if you tag him with Blue Gun ulti. Chime and Neo still alive for now. Do Dig want to force this further? They are going to push these guys back far enough to guarantee that they grab the first plate, but Neo and Chime can still hang around to clear out the wave.
They get a plate, but again, that's big for TSM because this is a bot lane that boozes early. They didn't have to drop any of the creeps, the XP. That's a big part about taking Rift Herald when you rotate bot lane up. So overall, this trade for TSM, very positive. Is they drop one plate bot, no creeps. That's just fine for picking up a free Rift Herald.
Yeah, I'd take that trade any day of the week. I still want to see where they decide to use this Herald. Plenty of time to still think about that. They'll have the entire duration of the eye to still guarantee they get plate money for its use. Maple's going to move slightly into enemy territory. Just make sure they keep that brush on the back side of the red buff pit warded to guarantee they'll have vision of any enemy pathing through there, like you can see IgNar doing right now, heading towards the side brush in mid. So Maple knows just hang back, waste his time. Just chill for a little bit.
Jensen does have that flashback up too, so he feels a lot safer in the mid lane. But we will see, of course, it is a Cloud Dragon, so teams deprioritizing that early would rather just take the plate gold. But I am curious, it looks like TSM are starting it up right now, at least Bugi feeling it out. They should have mid priority if Chime's hovering, so I think this will go over to TSM for free.
Plus topside, Solo versus Armut, both building the first same item, but it's completed for Solo. Sunfire Cape versus Pieces just does not feel like any sort of a comparison. Solo is more than comfortable in that situation still, so as long as the attention is on the bottom side of the map, TSM's happy with it because Solo is perfectly happy staying on the topside island.
Yeah, and again, this is somewhat how I would expect this draft to go early. Like TSM, they have the tools, they have the priority, and for Dignitas, you know, you do have a CS lead in the Aphelios, the Orianna. You're really going to wait until 2+ items to try and fight and really hit your spikes. So I think overall, you know, TSM, credit to them for making some nice plays, but Dignitas, much more in this game than what we've seen in the past.
Well, we're getting to the part where they typically lose their win.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to look at. Once we hit 14, 15 minutes, when plates are gone, what goes on? Spawn's eating a lot of damage from the calling. Bugi gonna go forward there. W2 doesn't quite collide, so Spawn's still just fine. 60% HP here left on him. Bugi's ult, Neo's ult, Chime's ult, all used there. So that means Spawn really has no real concerns down here. They've got all 3 ultimates for the Dignitas players on your screen right now, so TSM's just willing to hang back. You're gonna have Bugi go right back up towards the top side of the map now with his reset. And we're right back to farming. Spawn 113 to 90 in terms of farm. Neo's going to equalize a little bit of that here underneath the turret. Unless Santorin goes for the dive, they might just look to end these guys. Teleport shows up though. It's going to be Maple finding his way into the bottom lane to reinforce and stop the dive.
Not a bad defense here. I mean, at least Dignitas, again, gets something as they do protect their bot lane, but it still is a small lead being grown, and now even Maple gonna get forced out by Santorin. Really like this play from him. It's small, it's cute, but it does get Jensen a plate, forces Maple off a wave again. Orianna, as we get into the game, her zoning is gonna be a big problem here for TSM. She's not taken out, so the fact that Jensen is ahead on maybe his best champion of all time in LCS here, I think is a big deal. Return of the company.
Oh, Bugi with the flash Arctic Assault. Jensen has to flash away to keep himself in a good enough position. Bugi not with an ulti recharge just yet, while top side, Solo's gonna find Armut, force the flash out of the Sion yet again. Rift Herald summoned up mid. They'll use that to guarantee a plate here. Should just be the one. And TSM will go ahead and use that objective with 1 minute to spare before the plates fall, but it's Spawn picking up plate money here in the bottom lane. And the gold leads on the carries. It's 1,000 gold up for Jensen over Maple. It is also almost that much for Spawn over Neo, and this is where Dignitas are going to have to try to play around and fight around. As Bugi's stuck in the middle of 3, Chime's ulti hits nobody. It's a big whip. Santorin now Wild Growth to try to stay alive as Spawn swoops in from the side and looks for the damage on Neo. He gets away after being polymorphed. Maple's still trying to fire back, but the shockwave hurts him. He flashes over the wall to bring Santorin with him, and Seismic Shove throws the tree right back into the ice. They'll cut him down, and it's 2-0 now for TSM.
Yeah, Santorin going too deep. Again, Maple had flash up. He dragged them all the way over the wall. That's the only reason that fight went the side of TSM. And again, this early game for Dignitas, as you highlighted, the gold, you have a lead on the Orianna, on the Aphelios. You don't force anything. If you wait a little bit, things get better for you. But instead, Dignitas, they take a fight in the power spike of TSM when Neo was able to get there first, and they drop as Santorin overextends.
And I think it's so important in a meta with Maokai and a meta with Vi to remember that the ultimate from Vi and the Twisted Advance from Maokai, these can be used against the person casting them if you have flash. You can position this dude in a bad place, like what ended up happening here.
And again, this fight, I think the big difference is the fact that Neo was able to get here first. I mean, a lot of damage pumped into Santorin. Has to burn the flash, get out of the combo from Maple. And then Neo, nice retreat, able to get away, from the polymorph that could be followed up on by Dignitas. Maple, well played. Again, Maple's Taliyah. It's been damn good. He could have done that at any champ, but still Santorin, not respecting the flash, gets punished.
You gotta pay attention to those flashes, man. If the guy's right next to the wall, he can take you all the way on that journey. Total gold, though. We've been talking a lot about Spawn. We've been talking a lot about Jensen and their advantages. But Solo has a pretty massive lead for himself as well. He collected about 4 plates during the early laning phase here. Now that those are gone, the turret won't be long for this world, and he continues to win out in these trades against Armut on the side.
And that priority in the top side leading to another Herald here for TSM. So TSM like putting that early emphasis on Solo, some love and attention. We don't usually see that into Sions, but it did pay off for TSM here as they're going to net that second Herald with no contest from Dignitas.
And Solo's just been such a reliable player here, I think, for TSM. Even yesterday, like you pointed out, he was 0-5. He still did his job. He doesn't need to have the glory. He doesn't need to have the montage orange KDA on OP.GG. He just needs to do his job and win the game, and he can do it on a lot of different champs.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that given Rampa's casting here, you guys don't have a bleep button up here, but Chime did say he's really effing good on takes when I talked to him earlier. So we got to see that yesterday, and now we see the second Herald being used to take away that mid turret from the Orianna. I do like this from the side of TSM because now they can use their priority in the side to try and collapse, take away camps from Dignitas. That's one way they can try and accelerate this game.
Not only do they use it to get the first turret, they also succeed in getting the charge onto the second one before Dig can stop it, putting some serious damage into that incredibly valuable tier 2. We do have our second Drake of the game live. Remember that TSM got the first one. It is 3 of 3 neutral objectives to the side of TSM so far, along with that 1,500 gold lead. And TP coming in now too. They don't want to just give away this next Drake. Maple's coming in with the Weaver's Wall.
Beauty.
The seismic shove, the collapse, and the death of IgNar.
And the way that Maple's able to follow up on his team with the Taliyah, I think Maple's mid-game has been a real highlight for TSM this split. And that was beautiful Taliyah play as Dignitas were kind of fishing around with the Dragon. Granted that TSM just used their play, the Herald to push mid. Dignitas, though, because they lose IgNar, no more Dragon, and TSM continues to snowball this mid-game that we said was so important for them.
So, let me ask you this here, buddy. You have studied Spawn more than I think anybody else here on the team has because of your extensive history casting him in Academy. You've talked about how they have a lot of the draft dedicated to him, with him being the Aphelios. Are we fighting around 2 items? Are we fighting around 3 items? What's our Aphelios main character storyline for Dig in this game?
LDR.
LDR.
When you're going into Cassante Sejuani, you're only going to be hitting frontline, so I want to see how early Spawn does pick that up. I think that's really, really important for him in this game. And I think that, we're looking at 2.5+ items on the side of Dignitas. That's when they're going to get really comfortable, with the Radiant Virtue on the Maokai. Orianna scales nicely with items. Of course, you got some small buffs, too, for her kit. Kind of nice in this patch. And, as they flew Jensen's Orianna win rate before, what was that, 57 and 15? Jesus.
It's pretty impressive.
That's, wow. Wow, yeah, wow. That's, I haven't been here, for that long now, but, I've been watching some of the games. Jensen, wow.
Pretty good number.
Yeah, that's, that's why he's made 8 Worlds in a row. Just casual.
Well, TSM would love to be able to put another loss on that impressive Orianna record here. Jensen still 0-0-0 on that pick here in this game, which, considering there are no kills on Dig as a team 18 minutes into this game, 0-0-0 is about the best you can hope for. Almost has the tier fully charged as well. The Seraph's Embrace will go a long way in being able to ensure some of his survivability as we move forward. Also has that flash back up and ready to go, very important. Both offensively and defensively, as he'll be the one pushing up the tier 1 turret. IgNar and Santorin both waiting nearby.
And a decent moment here from Dignitas, too, as I like the fact, they're escorting Jensen. Orianna can struggle in the side lane, especially against the Taliyah. So by Dignitas hovering that side, leaving the Sion to his Nunsum, they're kind of opting in to play the 4-1 that TSM has really the 4-1 that has given TSM so much success so far this split.
Yeah. And we've got 1 tier 1 turret left standing for Dig. It is down there in that bottom lane. TSM moving a couple bodies down towards that area right now. Solo still dealing with Armut here in the 1v1. The farm between the two is honestly pretty close. Just about 2 waves or so.
Okay, I mean, again, for Dignitas, if your Sion's behind and your Orianna and Aphelios are ahead, that's exactly what you want, right?
Yeah,
You're going to live
totally.
with that every time. So I know it's a 2K gold deficit for Dignitas, but I still feel like, you know, TSM's going to have the advantage for a little bit longer. Nice skill force from Spawn to get out of that glacial prison. I think Dig, the real question, will they contest this upcoming Dragon or not? Because as we've talked about, don't feel like they're going to be at the item breakpoint they want to be at on the side of, like, just giving their carries. And TSM, that's going to put them on soul point. So Dignitas will have a real choice to make around the next Dragon, whether they want to contest or not.
For Dignitas, that mid-game decision-making is imperative. Yes, you are 2,000 gold behind, but if you can staunch that bleeding, keep it around the same spot, it might be okay. Maple gonna be jumped on here by Jensen. Just comes out of the brush, immediately goes looking for that Taliyah.
Nice.
Waits for the shockwave to guarantee the force of the flash.
Nice trap by Jensen, though. That's gonna force Maple to miss more waves. And again, in the downtime, Jensen, Dignitas finding ways to push themselves forward. Really important from Dignitas. Something I always like to say, you know, when you're playing a scaling comp, you still have to find ways and windows to be aggressive, right? You can't just sit back and die. Nice instance of that from Jensen there.
I think that's a good way to put it. Sit back and die is not scaling. Scaling is getting to later in the game safely, as opposed to just surrendering the entirety of the map's resources to your opponent. And speaking of the map's resources, it's TSM looking to take those from the top side Dignitas jungle. It's completely dark in there now. You can see nothing through the fog. They've swept out any wards that might have been around. They're going to use their Scryer's Trinket into the Baron pit just to make sure nobody from TSM was rushing that down. But TSM's not concerned about the Baron. They're concerned about the enemy AD carry. And Spawn just gets deleted. Neo grabs the killing spree. They take out the piece they needed to remove. And now they'll head up into the top side.
Bugi, the playmaker, man, that was so nice from him and Chime. I also love he prepped the W to guess the flash from Spawns, throwing him down, keeping there, making sure the most important piece of Dignitas goes down. Now the most important piece on the map, and the Baron goes in favor of TSM.
TSM should be able to get this, no problem. You've got Armut just trying to trade back in the bottom lane. He'll grab the tier 2, but it's a small consolation prize for TSM, wearing that Baron 21 minutes into the game.
And that timing was so perfect for TSM too, because now they get the blitz out of the base with the Baron buff to set up for this Dragon that is soul point, denying the response from Dignitas. So this timer, so good. And again, Chime, Bugi, we saw the toggle beforehand. There was no vision here for Dignitas. They checked the Baron, saw they weren't on it, but they were lying in wait and a trap. Look at the guess on the W2 from Bugi. Throws it ahead, guesses the flash from Spawn. He's doomed. Beautiful bubble from Chime to follow up. Very clean play from TSM jungle support duo.
And when Spawn has no cleanse, when the Lulu has no McHale's, they know that all they gotta do is just get that first step, and then he's locked down, he's blown up, he's gone. Jensen's still just up here, side lane 0-0-0, Orianna 22 minutes into the game. He's 50 farm ahead. He's trying to get back whatever he might be able to get back. Maple can't deal with him in a 1v1 situation, so Jensen will grab the tier 1 turret. They're just trying to buy as much time as they can. The rest of TSM currently focusing on that Drake that will bring them to soul point, like you said. And now for the rest of the game, the pressure around Dignitas is going to feel pretty suffocating.
Yeah, that Baron hurts so much because, again, we were talking about Dignitas, like, hey, you know, they can scale if it gets to 2-3 items, you know, they can maybe find a fight, but the amount of gold that TSM is going to get from that Baron with the standing objectives, I mean, the bot outer falls for free. You got to imagine the goal for TSM is to knock down the next 2 inners as well. Dignitas going to be down much more gold and down much more of the map as well. Very difficult for them now.
Well, Dignitas are deciding they want to entrench themselves and defend 5 men strong around the tier 2. Solo's the one to face check the brush. He knows how easy it is to do with K'Sante. Weaver's Wall comes in behind to separate Dignitas, but fortunately it's only Armut on the wrong side of the wall. TSM knows they can't just burst through 4,000 HP of Sion. Bugi's still off just to the north here of this tier 2 turret, making sure that he has an angle to try to make something happen if need be. Maple, all the meanwhile, has been escorting waves up mid, applying pressure to the tier 3 turret here. Nobody from Dignitas is around to defend. Maple's just going to be able to knock this over. Bugi keeps Jensen away long enough to get that turret low. And it's the cannon minion, enchanted with Baron, just takes it out. The base is now cracked on the side of Dig, and the tier 2 turret's going to fall right after.
I know that Dignitas has really struggled this split, but still TSM, they're making this game look clinical, man. You got to give them compliments. I mean, Maple using the ult to keep them under that bot turret, and Dignitas just refusing to rotate too. That inhibitor turret falls, and again, that gold lead for TSM, it keeps on growing, and Dignitas, that scaling is not going to come soon enough if the game pace keeps up like this.
TSM is loving the way the Super Week has been going so far, man. You beat FlyQuest yesterday. You have the chance to go to a 5-4 record today. You got to beat Dig to do it, but Dig has been struggling so much. As long as you don't fall into the trap game mentality, as long as you keep your head on straight, you would think that they got what it takes to do it, and right now what it takes to do it is a 5,000 gold lead and Soul Point 24 minutes into the game. Very, very low kill score in this game, Cubby. 4-0. There's not a lot of bodies hitting the floor, but TSM have made the ones that they put their count.
Yeah, I do miss my NACL game pace just a little bit, I would say.
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit. LCK trained me for this, though, you know. And hey, TSM, I mean, credit to them. They're playing this out really clean, but now we have a deep TP coming in from Armut. But the only person there to find Solo, and he's just going to cruise on by.
Yeah, Solo even knocks him closer, saying, all right, get over here. If you want to hit me, hit me. But he's not even going to do that. Unfortunately for Dignitas, that teleport results in a whole lot of nothing. We've got 2.5 minutes until Dragon spawns. We've got 2.5 minutes till Baron spawns, and when those objectives are synced up and you're the team that's behind and everything, it feels so brutal to play it.
Dignitas do not like the game state they're in right now. And I think that a lot of it, you know, the consequences for TSM, again, a lot of teams, you know, they see Sion versus Cassante top, they're like, hey, you know what, we're going to ignore this lane, just leave it in the 1v1. The fact that TSM put some resources up there really paid off for them. Got them the 2 Heralds. They were able to transition that power into the Dragons as well. It made the early game so easy for TSM, where now they're at the game state. They've stacked up those 3 Dragons, even if they're a little bit behind the clock. It doesn't matter. Everything's been clean, calm, cool, and collected.
And we've got the Seraph's Embrace with Leandries completed for Maple. We've got almost the Infinity Edge completed 3rd for Neo, who did go for the Rapid Fire Cannon 2nd. The old school Lucian build back before Freak up the Infinity Edge. And we've got Sunfire Cape done for both your frontliners as well, guaranteeing they're going to cause some ruckus when they go in. Honestly, the deck is very stacked against Dignitas, as TSM have absolute control over this top side. You can see all the vision that they've established in Dignitas's blue side jungle. Only that one ward from Dig you can see right there, but Chime turns on the sweeper, and the last vestige of that vision is swept away. Armut's going to try to clear out the waves however he can. It's a 4-man push from TSM here in the top side. Maple being the man set apart because he's the one who can join most easily. Calling will find a little bit of damage. Armut wants the engage. Dig's going in, 5 minutes strong, but the problem is Maple's already joined up. Now Armut's caught on the wrong side of the wall, and Jensen is too. Maple keeps firing back into IgNar as Dignitas trying to maintain their lines. Oh, it's not gonna work. Neo's on a rampage and spawns back in spawn as we've got Dignitas falling back in full retreat, and TSM keeping it rolling.
That wall from Maple was so good. It set up Solo to follow up, get spawn in his enemy team is the most important piece for Dignitas falls, and that's 45 seconds before the Dragons. So now TSM are going to get the whole map to themselves. Can Dignitas even contest?
I think we already know the answer to the question, buddy. I think Dignitas just do not have much of a chance left. Let's take another look at this play up here.
This wall from Maple is so good. It splits the team entirely because Dignitas, they see a 5v4. They know they're behind. They have to make a play. But Jensen gets stuck, and then Solo on the back half actually able to find spawn, pulls him back into the rest of the team. Oh, it's the Q knockup that got him as the Aphelios is dragged in, and now back to live. Maple already finding a lot of damage. Dignitas getting zoned out.
Santorin at 40% HP. Chime's bubble should guarantee his fate. Solo, meanwhile, has found the rest of the team. IgNar's going to be your target now as Bugi goes forward, secures the stun. Maple's got the shove. Easy peasy. TSM pick up the jungler and the support. With enemy jungle dead for 30 seconds, I think it's a soul angle, I think it's a Baron angle, I think it's a game angle.
It's a TSM angle, and TSM moving to 5 and 4 in the standings, and who would have guessed when the split of LCS started that this TSM roster would be 5 and 4? Again, the community, everyone had them 8, 9, mostly at 10. All the analysts had them at 10. I had him at 10, and this team sitting at 5 and 4 after the first round robin, and one of the bigger surprises we've had in LCS this split.
TSM showing up, man, and now they're heading up top to grab that Baron. Yes, everybody on Dignitas is back alive, and you can see the teleports coming in. I think the call from Dig is just Hail Mary. Try to save Jensen here, hope that it works. Bugi wants to chase him over the wall, I would presume. All right, the great Jensen hunt is on.
Cannot TP out.
Run, Jensen, run!
Maybe
Jensen, run! Okay, they don't have the hard CC to get him inside. Or do they? Yes, they do. Avert your eyes, young viewers.
8 worlds straight. 0-9 start. Going down like that. Not great for Jensen and Dignitas, but man, for TSM, again, the success story, it continues. And a great find from Maple again. I think if you're facing TSM, Maple's bought Taliyah bans at this point. You cannot give this guy Taliyah. He's ran 3 games now for TSM, especially with the help of Bugi for me, who has been the big highlight of this match. The fact he got Maokai behind early made it so much easier for his lanes to play out. He took the flash out of both soul laners. Bugi was everywhere in the early game. That also really helped TSM push this game forward.
Armut got Gromp, though. Armut got the Gromp, though. So
yeah,
we got.
That's good.
We got something.
Good for him.
Yeah, we got something.
That's nice.
TSM's kind of taken out their 8th turret of the game, however, and it looks like there's not a whole lot that Dignitas can do about it. Jensen just now respawning. I think this is the last stand of the Dignitas boys here in the first round robin of Spring 2023. They're down 10,000 gold. Their opponents have Mountain Soul. They got to try to pull off some sort of a miracle here. TSM aren't going to give them the chance. They're going to back away after taking the 2 inhibs. Third wave is in no position to do anything with, so they're going to regroup. I would assume push down bottom lane with the remaining 2 minutes of this Baron and just end the game with a full inhib, full base take.
Yeah, they don't want that Elder to spawn, and TSM is far ahead enough where this should be an easy take. And again, for TSM, big surprise. I mean, so much props really go to Bugi, who, again, coming into this NA, my dream LCS, man, he's making the most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an awesome start. Him and Maple playing together, setting things up, making them happen. Solo just being the reliable guy up there in the top side that'll always get it done. And Chime has also been a real impressive point for this squad to be so far here in Spring.
I think that Chime has fought really well in a lot of games we've seen. His Rakan yesterday was fantastic. I love how aggressively he plays the Lulu with some of the polymorphs. I know it's kind of goofy to think about Lulu playing aggressively, but he makes it work. Yeah, he makes it work. And now, Chime and the rest of TSM making this final push work, as this should be the end of Dignitas.
All right, let's see it. Maple's escorting up some super minions from mid. However, now he's just about in Weaver's wall range, so he can join this fight in a moment's notice. They need it. Armut's going to eat most of the culling. You can see that they have the last whisper.
Look at Maple. He's going to wall.
Maple's still looking for the chance. Just shoving up the wave in the meantime. Making different points of pressure that Dignitas has to answer. TSM, slow and steady wins the race, and they will slowly and steadily force Armut to flash away as they continue pushing forward and applying pressure onto the last remaining tier 3 turret in the Dignitas base. Solo and Chime end up getting some damage. Aphelios ulti finds TSM, but they're so far behind, it's not going to give Dignitas the opportunity to follow up meaningfully. Nexus turrets are melting to minions all the while. TSM moving over to help them along into the grave as Dignitas lose their first Nexus turret. Armut's going to be thrown up into the air spawn, looking for some damage onto Solo, but won't get enough to kill him. Third inhibitor dies, bottom lane now. Armut again, just staying on the front line, trying to soak, trying to just waste any time that he can from TSM. Solo's still at about 25% HP. They go in after Maple, but he buys time here with the Zonias. Neo's unstoppable, Spawn is dead. Dignitas back into the fountain. Neo's gonna keep him there. Maple's gonna keep him there. Solo doesn't care. He's back onto the next set. TSM don't give him a single kill. And they end the first round robin 5-4.
Great play from TSM. And I gotta say, TSM, again, a team that everyone had at the bottom of the standings to finish that first round robin at 5-4, especially in the form, some of what we've seen from them. I mean, Bugi looks like a legitimate playmaker here in the jungle, something that I don't think a ton of people expected with him coming over, given how strong the jungle pool is in NA. He made play after play in that game. Maple followed up, and TSM continued to look strong.
TSM finishing with a positive record in round robin number 1. We'll see how well they can keep it up, running it back in the second half of the split. Of course, for Dignitas, things have not gone the way they wanted. A 0-9 first half. Rough for anybody. There's going to be a lot to review. There's going to be a lot to think about. And I guarantee there's going to be some changes being made for the second half of the split.
It's going to be interesting because, as Challengers League caster here, I got to bring up the fact that Dignitas, their Challengers League team, all 5 players have LCS experience, and they're 16-2. They're first in our standings, and their bot lane's been damn good. So, I mean, this is an option that Dignitas have. It's definitely something to look out for. I don't know what's going to happen, but, it's something where team's been 0-9. They tried something new strategically in this game by funneling Spawn. Didn't work out for them, and curious what else they try and put some wins on the board.
Massive, massive props to the man on your screen right now. Maple, such an effective Taliyah. I think he said it perfectly. You just got to start banning it against him.
He's earned it.
People ban Kindred versus Pyoshin, right? People ban Gnar versus Armut. People ban champions versus people who are just going to win the game if they get that champion. I think Maple's Taliyah has earned the right.
Yeah, I mean, that and also just the 4-1 play from TSM, solo on these tanks. It's really, it's not how every team in the league plays, and I love the fact that TSM are playing a style that works for them and having success with it.
Having a guy that can face check like that is so important, right? Because, we see Sejuani's and Maokai's in the jungle. Maokai builds Demonic Embrace first. He's not a true face check champion. Sejuani doesn't get enough economy in the jungle to be able to consistently face check during some of these compositions. Solo on a full econ, full tank, top lane meatball, he's going in and he ain't going back out until somebody's dead. But with the game wrapped up, we're joining Raz and Solo himself for our Verizon post-game interview.
Whoa. Thanks a lot, guys. Welcome. I got my interview here with Solo. So first things first, halfway through the split, winning record, circumventing a lot of fan expectations. Have you had like a chance to reflect on that overall?
I mean, we're not really surprised because we're like scrimming all the time and we know like how good the teams are. So I wasn't really surprised, but it was kind of funny. I mean, this game, we were so nervous. We were probably more nervous for this game than yesterday.
Really?
I mean, it seemed fated that we would lose. So I was like, oh God. And Jat wasn't casting either. He's like, I'm not going to give you powers this week. So I was like, okay.
All right, maybe next time.
We were kind of scared. I was like, I don't want to throw.
That's wild. So you say you weren't surprised. What has made it this team so successful so far? Because it's just the halfway point. Obviously, you still have a ways to go. But like at this point, you guys would be a playoffs team. What do you think you guys have been doing correctly?
I think we just keep it simple. I mean, we got a lot of guys who are like, you know, kind of journeymen or just been around for a while. So everybody kind of knows their strengths and weaknesses and like what role they need to bring to the team. And I think like we just get on the same page. Like we keep the comms, like everyone's trying to do the same thing. And we're not trying to be like, oh, like 1 week a split pushing team, another week like, you know, only gank mid. We're just kind of doing what feels good and comfy for everyone. So it's been like pretty chill. I mean, it's been fine. I think everyone's just kind of been playing their role and doing their job.
And something you mentioned, because you just talk about people playing their role in the TSM Legends episode, don't remember which one, it was being talked about like last year you had a pretty dominant voice in Spica. Bugi comes in and you guys talked about being able to fill that space in comms. How has that been overall, obviously? Because you guys have vocal players, but who would you say is like a highlight member in being able to fill that space?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Spica's a great player, but he does take up like a ton of comms, which is strength. But yeah, you know, he kind of gets 2 cups of coffee before the match and he's just buzzing. So, but now that he's gone, I mean, Boogie's like a big voice because it's good to have a juggler like that. But I think Maple mostly has stepped up and just been like such a leader. And he's been around forever, so he's always like making the right decision, has good judgment. So I really appreciate that he's like kind of like a main voice and just like someone you really trust whenever he's talking.
And just the last question, because there's going to be a lot, I'm sure, with wins like these, a lot of opportunities to talk with you.
Don't jinx us, no.
Oh, okay, maybe not. I'll reel it back in. I'll be the hater, the doubter. So we've heard a lot of the hate and doubt from other people about your expectations being 9th, 10th. What do you think your expectations are? Players, generally speaking, well, shoot for the moon. What do you want?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty like top-heavy league, like FlyQuest, EG, 100 Thieves, like C9. Seem like they're the best teams. So, I mean, for us, we just want to like beat the teams we're supposed to beat. Maybe take a couple wins like FlyQuest and just try to make playoffs and then make playoffs like best of 5. I mean, you saw like last year, almost anything can happen. Like it's just whoever shows up that day. So that's kind of our focus is we just don't want to lose versus like the teams we're supposed to beat. That's like what really kills you in a season. So that's what we've been looking at.
There we go. And with a 2-1 week, it seems like especially taking wins against FlyQuest and stuff like that, we'll be able to see you more often. I don't want to, okay, now I'm doing more of that cursing. But until then, as we go to break, Maple and Chow share their experiences of Lulu in your year. Thanks a lot, guys.
过年的话，通常都会回老家吧，然后跟一些阿公阿嬷，然后很多亲戚聚在一起，然后吃团圆饭，然后打麻将啊之类的。过年特别难忘的话就，因为都会跟家人打麻将嘛，然后有一次就是运气特别好，就赢了蛮多钱的，就蛮开心的。
For me, because I'm from Singapore, right? And then my mom is from Malaysia, so usually Lunar New Year we'll go back to Malaysia to her parents' house, and then where we meet our distant cousins, family, and then I think that's a very special memory that we do every year.
今年过年的话，因为就是 TSM 就是厨师有煮很多就是亚洲的食物，就是很多很丰盛的大餐。 什么小笼包啊、炒面什么的，然后就还蛮不错的，有那种过年的感觉。今年的愿望的话，就是希望能在 TSM 拿到前3名。
For me, it's also pretty similar. We try to get to worst, World Championship.
We have to tell everyone that we just switched to Verizon's new Welcome Unlimited plan for just $30.
I've already told everyone.
Wait, did you say Verizon for just $30?
It's their best unlimited price ever.
$30? That's awesome. Yeah, and it's from the most reliable 5G network in America.
For $30 a line, I'm switching now.
Yeah, it's easy. And you get $960 when you switch the whole family.
Oh, wow. I gotta let my buddies know.
We're already here.
The network you want, the price you love, only from Verizon.